Let's go over these two multiple choice questions about photosynthesis. These questions would primarily be for an AP biology class. Remember that photosynthesis is divided into the light-dependent reactions and the Calvin cycle. The light-dependent reactions use light and water to produce ATP and NADPH, which fuels the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle uses CO2 to make sugar. Now, after NADPH and ATP are used, they're going to go back and be re-energized in this light-dependent reaction step. The light-dependent reactions will also produce oxygen as a byproduct. So these two steps are going to be linked together by recycling energy in these molecules that will transfer that energy. Here's our first question. Chloroplasts can make carbohydrates in the dark if provided with. Remember that during photosynthesis, we have those two reactions. The second reaction, or the Calvin cycle, is where we're going to make carbohydrates in the form of like glucose molecules. Now, the light-dependent reactions are going to make two molecules that are going to be necessary for the Calvin cycle to occur. Those two molecules are ATP and NADPH. Now, there's one more molecule that the Calvin cycle is going to need, and that is CO2. The Calvin cycle needs a carbon source to make the glucose that's going to make. So, looking at our answers, not just ATP and NADPH. Nope, A is out. B, NADPH water. Nope, that's not going to be needed in that second process. C, definitely not, because only one of those things is needed. D, ATP, NADPH, and CO2. That looks like our answer. E, ATP and CO2. No, we also need NADPH. That's why D is the correct answer. And here's the second question. If the light-dependent reactions were stopped, other than NADPH and ATP, what else would stop being produced? So again, we're thinking about the light-dependent reactions. Well, we know that the light-dependent reactions are going to produce ATP and NADPH. They're also going to use two things. They're going to use water and they're going to use light. So since these are inputs, we can just automatically take those out of our choices. So we're down to three things. Remember that the byproduct of this reaction is going to be oxygen, or O2. So that means the answer to this question is C.